Singapore and Indonesia have reaffirmed their shared priorities in economic recovery and human capital development. This during a sit-down between Singapore Prime Minister Loong and Indonesian President Joko Widodo on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in Phnom Penh. Now, they also discussed progress on sustainability initiatives. The leaders talked about regional developments and ASEAN's next steps in response to Myanmar. Meanwhile, Mr. Lee says that he looks forward to contributing to the G20 summit discussions, which Mr. Joko is hosting next week in Bali. Mr. Lee also gave Singapore's support for Indonesia's upcoming ASEAN chairmanship next year.
Well, a series of summits in the region has kicked off with the 40th and 41st ASEAN summit starting in Cambodia today. Among the issues for ASEAN to tackle are the worsening situation in Myanmar, continued cooperation and the bloc's stability in a more uncertain world. Heidi Ng tells us more.
It's a rare spot of quiet in Phnom Penh, with a view of the Mekong River and the Royal Palace across. But any scenic river ferry rides will have to wait, as they've been suspended as part of security measures around the nearby Soka Hotel. Local reports say that more than 10,000 security forces have been deployed in the capital city of Cambodia, with roadblocks also in place. That's as state leaders from the 10-member ASEAN regional bloc will convene here until Sunday. Singapore Prime Minister Loong has arrived, accompanied by Foreign Affairs Minister Vivian Balakrishnan, for the first ASEAN summit taking place in person after 2 years of virtual meetings. Top of the agenda will be Myanmar, where little progress has been made in implementing the ASEAN's 5-point consensus ever since the military leadership accepted in last April. Singapore's foreign minister has said that leaders will have to assess this lack of progress this weekend, then make some, quote, difficult decisions to guide ASEAN's next steps. The leaders are also expected to discuss how they can continue to work collectively even as the countries recover from the pandemic for the economic prosperity and stability of the region. Global leaders expected to attend include those from China, US and Japan, as well as Canada, Australia and Korea. ASEAN will hold summits with them to strengthen relationships amid greater geopolitical uncertainty, such as the war in Ukraine. In fact, the bloc signed a peace treaty with Ukraine on Thursday, pledging mutual respect for independence, sovereignty and national identity. Singapore, which has unilaterally imposed sanctions on Russia, then attended a bilateral meeting with Ukraine. Another summit to watch will be between ASEAN and India. 2022 is designated their friendship year, marking 30 years of dialogue relations with Singapore as country coordinator. Even with this packed schedule, global leaders are expected to hold bilateral meetings on the sidelines, and discussions will surely continue into the G20 and APEC summits taking place next week. Heidi Ng, CNA, Phnom Penh.